Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, guess what? We are back after 4 whole weeks. 4 whole weeks of me going to San Francisco and back, and San Francisco and back, and like a windshield wiper going back and forth. But anyway, we are now back. We are on episode number 236 of Geek Smack, where we smack the geek out of you like we'll smack geek out of an iPhone 5. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Mark Zuckerberg and his speech after the IPO, like 2 months after the IPO. Plus, we're also going to talk about a whole bunch of videos and a whole lot more. So let's get started. We're brought to you by Wirecast. Go over to geekazine.com/WirecastPC for the PC version and Wirecast Mac for the Mac version to switch and use lower thirds and all that other cool stuff like I'm doing with this episode. Let's get into it with your Geek Smack. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, where we smack you Gangnam Style. How did that dance go on Saturday Night Live? Anyway, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks for watching. Do this, a little bit of this. If you're listening to the show, you don't know what I'm doing. But if you are listening to the show and this is the first time that you've come to the show, either on the video version or the audio version, thank you very much for coming. We do this every single Tuesday for a Wednesday consumption. Of course, we had a few weeks off. Why? Because I went to LA, because I went to San Francisco, because I went back to San Francisco, because I left my heart in San Francisco and all that other San Francisco and stuff. And we had lots of great videos, tons of great videos you can find over at the YouTube channel on Geekazine. They're going to slowly, we did some VMworld videos, and we're going to do some TechCrunch Disrupt, the ones that I really think that are going to go farther than ever before up on Geekazine. Of course, you did see the beginning videos and the hackathon videos. And then, of course, my friends over at LiveBolt, well, Snowshoe, now they created this LiveBolt locking system. They're from Madison, Wisconsin. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. We did a video, and we made it all happy and stuff like that. And then we sat in the back of their Prius and did stuff with the big check, like, things I probably can't talk about on the kid-safe family show, so we'll leave it at that. So, no, it was fine. Everything was cool. We had a good party. We had a good fun. Did a lot of great video, tons of video over at youtube.com/geekazine. Check it out. But we've got two badges here that are going to go in the Badge Hall of Fame. The first one, of course, the right here, right now, the VMworld badge that I had. That's the first one. We're going to put that into the Badge Hall of Fame. And then, of course, the second one, as I was part of the press for Disrupt and got a lot of stuff. In fact, I got a couple gift cards in the back here I got to use. But anyway, I'm going to throw this into the press badge area. All right, lots of great things happening over at Geekazine. Check it out at geekazine.com. And, of course, all the other websites, dorkazine.com, sportazine.com, howtorecordpodcast.com, and then, of course, the Day in Tech History over at www.dayintechhistory.com. And then the show, iPad 365, took a small break from there because I'm trying to get things up and running and keep things going. You just have to take a small break every now and then. So anyway, iPad 365 is going to come back into production. Of course, Day in Tech History every single day. And that hasn't changed because it's actually pretty cool and pretty easy to update. And you just put in the new content, you re-record some stuff, and then you put out a new podcast. It's pretty cool and self-sustaining. So you can check that out. Everything's up on iTunes. Everything's up on Zune. Everything's up wherever you want it to be. So if it's not up to where you want it to be, then let me know by twittering me at Geekazine. Think Magazine, take out the mag, put in a geek. Or I should just shorten that up. Think Magazine, put in the geek, you got Geekazine. And then, of course, you can also email me at geekazine@gmail.com. Simple as that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into your Tech Smack for today. Oh, looks like we have a little bit of a thing here. So, okay, well, we'll get it going here. Let's switch it back here because I don't think that's going to work for some reason. We'll do that. Okay, there we are. Hello again. How you doing? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start. Of course, well, actually, before we start, of course, everything is brought to you by our friends over at Zag. Check it out. If you go over to geekazine.com/Zag, that's ZAGG, you can get here. And where do you get? You get to here, which shows you all the cool stuff. Of course, the iPhone 5 has come out, and they will have iPhone 5 invisible shields for you coming very well when you need them. I bet you can order them right now. And they feature brake protection, which is pretty cool. The extreme invisible shields. Also, the Zag Folio. I use that on my iPad, and also the Zag Spark. Now, the cool thing about the Zag Spark, let me show you. This is the Zag Spark right here. And what it is it's a USB. You basically throw it into your plug. You let this charge up. And then when you need it, if your iPad is down to 30% and you don't have a plug, you use this little puppy and it'll charge up your iPhone, your iPad, any tablet, or any smartphone as long as you have the right cable to plug into it. USB hookup right on the side there. This is cool. You know how this gets cooler? Because you can get 20% off on this. Certain items, if you use the code Geekazine, non-keyboards or discounted items, but this right here, the Zag Spark, use that code Geekazine, it's only $99.99, but with 20% off, it's now $79.99, and that's the cool thing. Check it out over at geekazine.com/Zag, ZAGG, and of course that helps Geek Smack and the Geekazine shows keep their lights on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, let's get into the first article for the day, and that's over at PCMag.com. And the computers were acting a little bit slow. Twitter's rolled out some new profiles. Apparently, they showed it on NBC and the Today Show, and Matt Lauer got a new profile, and Al Roker got a new profile. And it's just basically your Twitter profile with kind of a Facebook-looking picture on top, and then picture overlapping the other picture. So I don't know if they're trying to make it look a little bit more like Facebook or Google Plus or whatever, but they're giving more pictures so you can get more options. It makes me wonder if Twitter is going to actually start thinking about bringing in a photos section and bring it into a more social network so people have to go to twitter.com to get their news. Because I still use TweetDeck on my computers and Hootsuite on my iPad, and I've got a couple different other ones which I talk about on my iPad 365 show. We looked at Tweetbot, Twitterific, the Twitter client, and then of course Hootsuite. You can check that out over at iPad-365.com. So anyway, the whole point is the Twitter's making the revamp. Not big news, it's not going to be life changing because all it really is putting a picture on the top. But what do you think? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine, or you can email me geekazine@gmail.com. We still have the hotline at 608-205-4378, and a couple people do call it. In fact, for iPad 365, I had somebody call and ask for an app that's kind of like Sketch, but they can throw in little arrows and stuff like that. I'm researching that for you, and I will let you know once I find the app that will probably work best for you. All right, let's go over to USA Today. First of all, do you like the new USA Today image? Their redesign. They just redesigned the site. There's a little bit of this and that, but a lot of people are talking about the USA Today. Whoops, let's get the right one. There, the USA Today globe, the blue dot, which is pretty interesting. But anyway, let's get into this article. German watchdog has warned of an Internet Explorer breach. If you still use Internet Explorer, why? If you still use Internet Explorer 6, why? If you still use Internet Explorer 7, why? If you still use Internet Explorer 8, same question. I love Microsoft. In fact, 90% of the time, my MacBook Pro is running Windows. This machine's running Windows. I can't wait for Windows 8. Internet Explorer, don't even use it. Don't even touch it. I will use Chrome first, I will use Firefox second, and then I'll use Internet Explorer. I suppose it's okay because then after that, Safari. And that's even worse than Internet Explorer, but it's not going to give me any type of issues like this. So, Basically, there's a weak point in the Internet Explorer browser. People knew about that. It's been around for a while. There's going to be a group that's going to go in there, what they call 0 day, and actually attack you simply because of the fact that there's a hole there, and they just want the hole closed up. That's the reason why they're attacking. At least that's what they say. So, what do you think? Do you still use Internet Explorer? Are you concerned about it? If you're very concerned about it, back your computer up now. Back your computer up now. 5 words. Simple as that. Anyway, let me know. Twitter at MeGeekazine. Let me know why you use Internet Explorer and why you're not on something like Chrome or Firefox. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on from there. Like I said, that's over at USA Today. We're going to move over to Tapscape.com. Of course, we're going to talk about iPhone 5, and we're going to do that later. But first of all, we want to talk about the event really quickly because there was more than just the iPhone 5, the new iPod Touch, the new iPod Nano. Everything's getting Siri, which I'm really excited about. iOS 6, which comes out tomorrow, the 19th. Wednesday the 19th, you'll be able to download it. Should you download for your device, yes or no? Here's the quick answer. If you're not one of those people that report on the download, you might want to hold off a little bit, just to see what the gauge is. If people are having problems, if applications are working or not working, then when you feel it's a little bit safe, do it. If you do it, you should back up your iPad, and it's really easy to back up your iPad. You just have to go in and back it up to your iCloud, and if you don't have enough space on your iCloud, you hook it up to a computer with iTunes, you pair it up, and then you back up on your iTunes. Simple as that. I know I make it simple, sound simple, but it can be a little bit more complex. The bottom line is back it up before you put on iOS 6. The other thing is that iPod Nano, a lot of people are saying that they are feeling a little bit alienated now that the Nano is about double the height. And companies like TikTok that have made the little watch enclosures so you can put your Nano in so you can do your running and does your pace and stuff like that, that's pretty much going to be useless. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people wanting that retro Nano. In fact, when I was at TechCrunch Disrupt, I saw Softio, which is the game where they have the cubes, and you touch one set of cubes to the other set of cubes, and it's a game. You'll have to see it. I have the link. I'll put the link in the show notes up on Geekazine. But think of this. If another company came in with something very similar to the Nano that didn't cross over any patents and start using that for your watch with a Bluetooth option so you can use Bluetooth headset, I think a lot of people will go to that. In fact, there are some options. We talked at CES I believe it was in Motorola's booth, they had a alternative to the Nano that you can check out, and it actually syncs up with the computer and lets you know your stats. And I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So there are alternatives to the Nano. But did Apple do the right thing by changing the Nano shape, or are they going to lose business? They added Siri, of course. They added bigger buttons, which a lot of people like. I don't know. You let me know. Tweet me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Moving on from there, we're going over to PC World. Google has snatched up a photo editor in Snapseed. This is to compete with Instagram, which Facebook ended up purchasing back a few months ago. But the one thing about this is Snapseed was a purchase app for iOS devices. And now Google has purchased it. Now I'm wondering if that $4.99 purchase price will disappear, or if they'll continue to charge $4.99 for it. I'd be surprised if Google was to do that. However, if Google leaves Snapseed separate from Google, we could see that Snapseed, that $4.99 price, stick around. So interesting stuff. Check it out. It's over at PCWorld.com is where I got this article from. All right. All you hacking, just so you know, anybody that's out there that is worried about hackers, Subway has been under a recent attack. More than 146,000 accounts, credit card accounts, were compromised from 150 Subway restaurant franchises from 2009 to 2011. Two men, Romanian men, have claimed. One's Iulian Dolan out of Croatia, and he pled guilty to one count of conspiracy to commit computer fraud and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit credit card fraud. Anyway, credit card fraud. I can speak. Hello, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm speaking. Yay, me. The whole point is that credit card fraud can happen anytime, anywhere. I don't know. I read through this article. I'm not exactly sure. They said that they did hack into several hundred U.S. merchants. Now, you got to also remember Subway is around the world. You can go to Germany and go to a Subway. You can go to South America and get to Subway. You can go to South Africa and get Subway. You can go to China and get Subway. So they did say several hundred U.S. merchants. At first, I thought it's probably all over in Russia and stuff like that, but that's not true. So, check your credit cards and check your statements. But if you haven't seen it, it was from 2009 to 2011. There's no threat, so you can go to Subway now, get your $5 footlongs. You might want to still pay cash just to be on the safe side. But anyway, check this out. This is over at artstechnica.com. All right, going over to Gig AT&T is going to be stabbed it with it. What's stabbed? I don't know. Anyway, AT&T will be slapped with a net neutrality complaint. Basically, they've been blocking the FaceTime app over cellular networks. So you couldn't do a FaceTime you'd have to have a Wi-Fi signal to do FaceTime. So now the FCC is looking into this limitation that AT&T has put on for FaceTime. Do you use FaceTime? I've used FaceTime on my MacBook, and I've used FaceTime on my iPad, but I rarely do use FaceTime on the iPhone. Now, I'm getting the new iPhone, the iPhone 5. Maybe that'll change because the speed of the processor, but I don't know if I'll still be doing it over the cellular network. I'll probably be at home, sitting down, where I'm not jiggling the phone all over the place, and I'll probably be able to have a nice conversation from there. That's what I like about FaceTime, is if I have my computer or my iPad in a static spot, I can do FaceTime, and they don't get seasick because they're seeing me bobble around like a bobblehead, bobbling around. Like Boba Fett here. Boba Fett, that's a bobblehead. Don't want to do that. Albert Einstein, he's not a bobblehead. No, he's not. Okay. Mickey Mouse is technically a bobblehead, but he kind of sways back and forth. I don't know. Those are the things behind me. The whole point is this. I don't use FaceTime on my iPhone unless I absolutely have to. I'd set it down, and I would want to use Wi-Fi over cellular because I don't want to drop a call either. So what do you think? Is this something you use? Is this something you really want? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. Or is this just something that it's supposed to be doing, and AT&T is turning it off, and you say, I want to put the screws to AT&T because of this. I don't know. Anyway, let's move on here. Let's go over to techdirt.com. I hate patent trolls. I'll tell you that right now. Patent trolls, I loathe patent trolls. But they're causing serious problems for small businesses. I went out to TechCrunch Disrupt this last week, and I saw a whole bunch of new startups. And the things that I was thinking, one thing I was thinking of most was, I wonder who's going to sue them for that. I got an iOS app that will change the world and give you eternal life. Yeah, who's got the patent on that one already? And we're not talking, patents that are very important, like solidifying the screen to a device or something like that. We're talking stupid patents like sliding locks and computer bits and pieces. And there's points where it is important, and it is something that somebody should get paid for. But if we're talking like a simple code like 10 go to 20 type code, something very simplistic that takes like 10 seconds to write the code, and somebody's put a patent on it, it gets annoying. And these small businesses get affected from it. And then we don't see new innovations because these trolls are looking for a couple $1 million because they made a patent. Or they found a patent that wasn't patented. Like, for instance, back in the 80s, I think it was snow tires, where a troll actually picked that up. And now they make money off of something they didn't even invent. How sad is that? Anyway, if you want to read more on this, go over to TechDirt. I could go on forever about patent trolls. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Period. Let's move on. Going back over to GigaOM, how does Google Plus get 100 million active users? They're not reading your posts. At least that's what they're saying. They have 400 million users, registered users. Of course, 100 million are using the service actively. I use Google Plus, although I haven't used Google Plus the way that I used to use Google Plus. I'll tell you something. What I find a lot of pictures. I find a lot of re-pictures. I find a lot of re-gifs. Things like that. That's just like, okay, I'm going through this and I see the same picture 15 times. I see the same GIF 15 times. I see this. I see some news articles and I read the news articles. I see some people really, really trying to make Google Plus something cool, but I just don't see it sometimes. And yeah, I do go up on Google Plus, and I do post on Google Plus anytime that I do something on Geekazine or Dorkazine or something like that. You'll see that up on my Google Plus page, and I'm trying to build my businesses. But the interaction between like I said, there are people that are trying. In fact, Chris Brogan had a post today that I replied to. And so some people are really trying to keep this social, but it doesn't seem social as much anymore. It just seems like a place to put your pictures of cats. I mean, what do you think? Do you agree with me on that? There are, I don't want to discount it because I still use it. In fact, out of the three, I probably go to that one first. So let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Let's move over from there. We're going to go over to ZDNet. Nuance has bought Ditech Networks for $22.5 million. They basically have what's called voicemail to text technology. Now, you're thinking to yourself, okay, Nuance is a company that has basically built on text to speech technology. They don't have this voicemail to text technology. Well, once again, there might be a patent involved that they have to be concerned about. So they decide, okay, they've got 100 million users or something like that. We'll pick them up. We don't have to do the work. We don't have to build this technology because there's another technology that they purchased this because of. It's called Voice Quality Assurance, or VQA. So now Nuance can put it into their Dragon Naturally Speaking. They can put it into their series and the other programs that they use that Nuance is part of. And they can really get you a hands-free driving experience, for example. And if you don't have any device that doesn't do hands-free in your car, whether it be in your car or attached, you bought something that hooks up to your visor or something like that, you really should, because it changes the way that you look at your phone while you drive. Not just texting, but look at your phone. For example, I have the Jabra one, and it's whenever I get a text, it'll come up on the voice thing. It'll say, text from so-and-so. Do you want me to read it? And you can say, okay, read it. And then it says, this is what it is. If you want to reply to it, say reply. And you say reply, and then you give them your reply, and then it sends it off. It might not be 100% correct all the time, but it's a lot easier and a lot more hands-free than picking up that phone. And a lot of people still do that. And we've got to stop doing that. In fact, there's a new campaign for teens to think about not texting while driving. And I think it's just don't even think about picking up your phone while driving. That's the key right there. So anyway, off of that topic, we're going to move on. Nuance, congratulations to Nuance for buying Ditech, and a lot of cool stuff happening very, very soon. All right, 2 more articles in the Geek News. We have a lot of it because, I did take 4 weeks off. And we're over at the Wall Street Journal. Ford Fusion, of course, one of the weeks I was out, I was actually driving the Ford C-Max, which says, they say 47 miles per gallon in the city, 47 in the highway. That depends on how you drive, first of all. So I had people on my YouTube video already going, yeah, it's not really 47 miles, it's that. And it's like, well, are you a lead foot? If you're lead foot, there's nothing they can do. But if you learn to drive a hybrid, you can get up to 47 miles per gallon in the city and in the highway. And that's pretty cool. Well, now Fusion Hybrid gets the 4747 EPA fuel economy rating for driving the city and highway. Now, that's 7 miles more than any of the other hybrids out there. So we're getting there, and I can't wait to see what the competition's going to do, what Toyota's going to do, what Nissan's going to do, and really bring that up. So you will have cars that don't have to go to the pumps every single time, and gas prices start to lower because we have gas reserves. In the meantime, if you want to read more on this, this is over at blogs.wsj.com. Check that out. All right, last part of this, and we'll move on here. Of course, as you know, I got to sit and listen to Mark Zuckerberg being interviewed by Michael Arrington, which over on YouTube, you can check this out. It was a very interesting fireside chat, and I was very excited, very happy to be part of it. Of course, that was my first time being in the same room with Mark Zuckerberg. I didn't get to meet him or anything like that, but he had a lot of cool stuff to say, and a lot of people were happy that he said it because the stock, although it didn't jump back up to $38 a share, it will soon. My one share of Facebook stock. It did give people a little bit more confidence in Facebook. The biggest thing that he talked about, two big things. The one was no Facebook phone. And I'm going to hold them to that. If they ever come out, I give it a 5-year window, first of all, unless he says it again. But I give it a 5-year window, which means after 5 years, if they decide to create a Facebook phone, then that's okay. But within this 5 years, if they create a Facebook phone, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say, tisk, tisk, Mark Zuckerberg, you said it wasn't in your strategy. And of course, strategies change, but I still 5 years. That's when somebody says something like that, that's what I'll give them, is I'll give them a window. And in this case, I give it a 5-year window. So we'll see what happens in the next 5 years if a Facebook phone will come out. The other thing is he talked about advertising on the iPad in the mobile, that they've been researching it and they've been testing out something and it's been working really well, and now it's going to be part. In fact, I've already seen it on my iPad. Things you might also like, and it's not very intrusive, and it's really nice. So I give it credit for being there, and they're definitely working on the right path. But we'll see what happens with Facebook. I don't know. What do you think? Do you still use Facebook? Do you not use Facebook? Do you like what they're doing, the direction that they're going? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine or geekazine@gmail.com. There was a lot more that Zuckerberg said in that video. You can check that out over at youtube.com/Geekazine. All right, that does bring us to the end of part 1. Oh, wow, we're going to go over in time, but that's okay. We have a lot to talk about. So we're going to do part 2 here in a second, and we're going to do that. Of course, this is the Geekazine Weekly Geek Smack. Almost said weekly podcast. This is Geek Smack. Now, I'm a little rusty at this. Give me a second here. So we'll be right back. All right. There is an update to Wirecast, so I'm hoping that that's going to fix this problem. I didn't see the video there, so we'll see what happens. I just haven't had time to look at and see what the new Wirecast, the update will do. So yeah. But this episode is brought to you by our friends over at Roku. Stop dreaming, start streaming. Get yourself a Roku tiny box, bigger entertainment, as they say. You can get a Roku starting at $49.99. Of course, if you want the Angry Birds, you got to get the $99.99 model. And they've got, as you can see, 25% off refurbished Roku players. So you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon. I got Amazon Prime, and it's great because there's a ton of movies I can watch, a ton of TV shows I watch. Jennifer, my girlfriend, she's got Netflix, and she put it on the Roku. I'm not a big fan of Netflix right now. Of course, if you listen to my Day in Tech History, on Wednesday the 19th, a year ago, that's when Netflix tried to do the whole Quickster thing. So check that out at Day in Tech History. But if you want to get yourself a Roku, support Geekazine by going over to geekazine.com/Roku. Geekazine.com/Roku. Get yourself an over-the-top television dream. And like I said, $99.99 for the one with Angry Birds and all the other games, or $49.99 if you just want to watch movies. I really highly suggest getting the XS model because you can do so much more, including putting in a micro card, so it takes a lot less time to load up your Roku, and you can save more channels on that way. So check it out. Stop dreaming, start streaming. Go over to Roku. Of course, geekazine.com/Roku helps Geekazine and Geek Smack show. All right, let's burn through this geek section. We're going to start over at Pop Candy, which is part of USA Today. Krispy Kreme tomorrow is also Talk Like a Pirate Day. Arr, we're going to talk like the pirates. Here we go. Yo ho ho and a bottle of internet. Yes, where's my peg leg? Arr. Anyway, Krispy Kreme is giving away donuts to pirates. So talk like a pirate day. If you dress up like a pirate, go to Krispy Kreme. That's how you pronounce it. They will give you a dozen free donuts, but you gotta be in full pirate gear. You can't just put on a hat and an eye patch and go, "Arr, I'm a pirate." Arr. So check it out. If you want to do that, go over. Of course, USA Today is talking about it, and good luck in getting a dozen. Maybe I will. Maybe I will get a dozen free donuts. I, I could use them. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Anyway, congratulations over to Todd and Geek News Central. He hit his 800th show episode last night. I didn't get to hear the show just yet. Of course, Todd helps is part of the Tech Podcast Network with me and everybody else, and of course he's been doing this show for many years. Started in audio and now is doing a full video show. And you can check it out over at geeknewscentral.com. If you don't know about that one already, there you go. It's a long show, but if you can listen through it, you get a lot of cool stuff. So check it out over at Geek News Central. Congratulations to Todd and show number 800. I can't wait for episode number 900. I'm waiting for episode 300 from Geek Smack. But you got to remember, I do a weekly show. He does a bi-weekly show. So it's going to take a little bit longer for me. All right, let's move over to BuzzFeed. Would you tattoo yourself with a brand? Now, remember when a few years ago the Zune guy he put a Zune tattoo and he was called the Zune guy, and then like a couple years later he was like, Zune's not doing what I want him to do, and he got the tattoo removed. And now Zune's kind of dissipating, even though it's going to be still there. It's not there. Microsoft has already said Zune's done, but it's still there. And it's getting, all this, that, and the other thing. But we're talking about people that do things like that. They put, like, for instance, this guy right here. I don't know if this is a Photoshop or if this is true, but it looks like this guy has got some websites up on his face. And, drfreak.com, never heard of that one. I don't know the other websites, popfidelity.com or something like that. His name is Joe Tamargo, and that's what he does. Now, I would paint a website on my face for an event or something like that. I don't know if I'd get a tattoo. I could get a tattoo on my arm. I do have a couple tattoos. I wouldn't, if I could do geekazine.com here because it is my website. That is part of what I do. So maybe I don't know. Would you get a tattoo of your website on your arm? Did you? Let me know. You can send me a picture over at geekazine@gmail.com. Where would you put it? Would you put it in an area that people could see, like right here, or would you put it up on your upper arm where you could probably wear a shirt every now and then and nobody would see it, or would you put it on your forehead? I don't know. Let me know. Check it out. Geekazine is the Twitter handle, and of course, geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. Let's move on from there and get off the tattoos. I think. There we go. Things are running a little slow on this computer, probably because there's so many links that I put up here. So, but anyway, we're going over to space.com. Warp drive. It may just happen, Captain. It may be possible. Anyway, in Houston, they said that they're figuring out a way to actually do a warp drive. In fact, this picture has been circulating the interwebs with that. Not this picture right here, but this picture right here. Here. There we go. Right there. So anyway, there's a possibility that a warp drive could happen. Basically, it would warp or manipulate space-time to move a ship through a loophole or a wormhole, whatever you want to call it, to get on there. Mexican Mexican physicist Miguel Albuquerque. I messed up on the name. I apologize. But anyway, he says that there's possibility. So I can't wait to see what happens. We could be warping. We'd be warping. I don't know. Is that a warp sound? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Are you ready for the warp drive? going for the warp drive, Captain. I can't wait for the transporter action. Coming down to some weird planet and fight some green guy. Watch the red shirt die. Hopefully, I'm not the red shirt. Things like that. Damn, that's impressive. That's what's over at thechive.com. Jennifer found this. She loves going to these great websites. So and she showed me this, and this is awesome. 34 photos that are pretty impressive. Like, for instance, have you ever tried to take the white part off of an Oreo cookie? I'll show you. There's actually an easy way to do this, and that is you heat up the cookie. You warm up one side of the. You take off one side of the cookie, and you warm up the other side, and you can probably take it off with like a spatula or a knife or something like that. Snail, look at that. The snail had a strawberry in his mouth. This is some sand stuff. These are crayons that were etched into animal shapes. But the one thing about this, there's some guitars down here. Lots of cool stuff. You can check it out. There's two guitars. This one right here, which it's wood carved, so it's not painted on. You can actually see the 3D look to it. And then, of course, this one right here, which looks it was painted on of a gecko. You can check this all out over at thechive.com. But 34 very impressive images. And some of them, no, they're all safe for work, but there are some of women doing some interesting contortions and showing off their abs and stuff like that. So things to think about when you go up to that website. All right, moving on from there, we are over at our friends over at Geekaloogie, because I love saying Geekaloogie. If you like He-Man, then check this out. This is a full sculpture of He-Man from scratch. Isn't that pretty cool? That's all. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And apparently he basically is set up to getting ready to battle Skeletor. Really lifelike, pretty interesting. They got a few pictures. Check it out over at Geekaloogie. And over there. All right, one more article, and that's over at my website, and that's over at dorkazine.com. Check it out. I deal in small cameras all the time. I was going to get a GoPro, but I decided to stick with the Kodak cameras because they still do the job that I need them to do. Well, this one guy actually had a GoPro, and he's jumps out of airplanes, skydiver, that's what you call him. And him and his friends did some skydiving. They all had GoPros on their helmets, and they jumped out. Well, he hit the top of the plane as he was getting ready to come out. And I think what happened was the latch on the case opened up, and therefore it did this. It basically free fell 12,500 feet. And it was really cool. But if you watch the video, keep in mind that it's hard to watch, and if you do have seizures, you might not want to watch this video because it's very intense. Now, this is a picture of the GoPro falling apart, and then, of course, this is the picture of the GoPro as it's falling. It's doing some sort of weird spin, and we watch it as it comes down and gets closer to the ground and stuff like that. It lands in the grassy knoll, and it lands in a perfect spot where it can catch all the jumpers as they parachute down to the ground. So it turned out to be pretty cool. And the guy did not edit it at all, so it's straight up footage. It's pretty cool stuff. You can check it out over at dorkazine.com. That does bring us to the end of the Geek section. I know it's a long episode, but we still got one more section, and that's why I went and bought myself an iPhone 5. And we're going to talk about that next. All right, if you like the audio version of Geekazine, then check it out over at Stitcher Internet Radio. You can get, of course, Geek Smack. You can get iPad 365 in audio version. You can get Day in Tech History in audio version, all through Stitcher Internet Radio. Great way for you to listen to your podcasts on the go. You stream them, and the best part is once one podcast is done, it goes straight to the next one. You can set up a favorites list of your favorite podcasts, so you can always go in there and doing it that way. I miss it because I have the Windows Phone. I miss Stitcher for Windows because they didn't have a Windows Phone version. And they do have an Apple version, an Android version, a BlackBerry, and a WebOS version that you can download for your phone and get on and get your podcasts going, including Geek Smack. Go over to Stitcher.com/geek, enter in your email address, and download the application. You get a chance to win a $100 cash card. Now they draw at the end of the month, so we're getting close there. So you might want to go over, put in your email address, and download the application. It's over at Stitcher.com/geek, and good luck. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, here we are at the end of Geek Smack, and I'm going to tell you, this is why I bought an iPhone 5. Now, if you've been following my feed, you know that I've got a new phone about 2 months ago. From Microsoft gave me a Nokia Lumia 900. It's a good phone. I don't dislike the phone. I just am missing the functionality of the iPhone, like and applications like Stitcher. There aren't comparable ones, and right now Windows 7 phones are pretty much on some sort of moratorium with developers, because they know once Windows 8 comes in, all they have to do is take their Windows applications, put in a couple lines of code, and boom, it's now a mobile device, a mobile application. And with this new OS, that means everybody's just kind of waiting on there. And right now, to be brutally honest, I miss the iPhone. I really do. I had the iPhone 3GS. It was getting old, and I could see that. It was nice that I could actually bump up and start using 4G. And now that iPhone is going to have 4G, I'm not going to miss that at all. Dual core, Tim Cook said that it's going to double the speed of the 4S, so I can do a lot more. I actually purchased the 32 gigabyte iPhone, and the reason why is I'm going to do a lot more video on my iPhone. And things like walking around the hotel rooms like I normally do. One-on-one interviews, I might just use my iPhone and a microphone like an iRig to go back and forth and do the interview. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it works. It's also got that stabilizer, so if I hold it like this, it doesn't see me shaking. At least that's what I'm hoping will happen with this. And a couple applications will make it look like I'm using a Canon camera or another type of camera. So I'm gonna download those apps and use those as well. I can also get some very cool apps, other apps that I need on my iPhone, like being able to hook up and use my iPad and talk back and forth between the three, the MacBook, the iPad, and the iPhone. I miss that functionality. With Windows Phone, you had SkyDrive to push everything over to another device, which does work. It's just a couple extra steps. So there's a lot of things that I like and I don't like about it. And if there wasn't a new iPhone coming out, I probably would have stuck with my Windows Phone. But I just missed the iPhone that much that I decided with the iPhone 5, I think it was time for that upgrade, and I did that. Now, you might have a totally different experience. I know there's a lot of people out there that love the Windows Phone. And maybe once Windows 8 comes out, I might just say, this is better than the iPhone, and I might figure out when I'm going to do a switch back, even though I'll have a 2-year contract. We'll see what happens. But let me know what you think. Did you get the iPhone? Were you one of the masses that were up at was it 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern time to get yourself an iPhone? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Are you going to stand in line? If you do, take pictures and send them to me. Geekazine@gmail.com. And, of course, I'll talk about it next week at Geek Smack Show after the big event, and we'll see what happens. I'll have my iPhone, so I'll show it off to you guys and go from there. In the meantime, that's it. I think we're done. I think I'm done babbling back and forth. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening over on Stitcher Internet Radio or iTunes or wherever you watched or listened to the show, maybe on YouTube, youtube.com/Geekazine. You can find everything over at Geekazine.com and all the links to the other places at Geekazine.com. Think magazine, put in a geek. That's all you have to do. All right, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Once again, thanks a lot for watching and listening. We will see you next week when we will have another episode of Geek Smack, and we will smack the geek out of you like we do every single week. You guys, geek out until then, and take care.